Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time.
That's really what I need.
You need more coffee? I mean, that's fair.
I have coffee right here.
I was like, I feel like you were drinking something just a second ago.
I was. It's out of my agender gelatinous cube mug.
Oh, that's exciting.
Because it says, you can't read that. Oh, yeah, you can. Gelatinous cube knows not of this gender you speak of.
Love it. Love it. Where did you get that from? Is it from an Etsy shop or?
No, it's from Look Human.
Oh, okay.
Where you pretend to be human and shop for mugs, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Sounds right.
As always, let's go ahead and get started. I have a feeling this is going to be a very chaotic episode.
It's going to be, yeah.
Because emotions are in one place and facts are in another place.
We are all over the place. We are, it's fast and loose today, baby. I don't know.
So as always, thank you to our feral venerators of Soireen. We have Lurks, Charlie, John, and Morshadi.
Yay.
I did it.
You did it.
Out of order. Not that there's an order, but...
There's no order.
There's an order that I remember them in.
We love all of them equally.
I was just doing it by order that they subscribed.
That they started? Oh, I see. Well, that makes sense.
Which is Lurks.
And then Charlie.
Charlie, Morshadi.
And then John.
And then John.
Yes.
Yes. Soon we'll have another name to add there, right, listeners?
Yes.
See, this is how you do promotion.
Yep.
It's called marketing, baby.
We are so good at it.
We're so great.
Great at it. Oh my god.
As you can probably tell, this is a Kat and James episode, which means that it's a Rings of Power episode.
Yay.
We are talking about season 2, episode 4, which I don't know the title for, but it's the one with a bunch of lore drops.
Every single time. I feel like every time we do this, we start it and we're just like, what is the episode title again?
Season 2, episode 4, Rings of Power.
Google.
Eldest.
Eldest. Oh, that's a good name for it.
Forbes says it's an atrocious disaster.
Woo! Not atrocious.
That's literally... So I Googled season 2, episode 4, Rings of Power. First link. The Rings of Power season 2, episode 4 review. Eldest is another atrocious disaster. Another.
Ooh! Not even an atrocious disaster. Another atrocious disaster.
Yes, it is great.
Ooh.
That's great.
Ooh.
I was just looking for a Wikipedia article, but that's okay.
They're just eating them up. My goodness.
I do not think it was an atrocious disaster.
No, it wasn't atrocious. I think that's very harsh and a little unfair. There were some good bits for this episode.
Yes, there were. And there were 4 main storylines. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to dive right into it. We have Galadriel and Elrond going on their little journey to try and reach Eregion.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yes.
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 Trust yourself, James.
I was trying to think if it was Eregion or Linden.
Oh.
But it was Eregion. They're coming from Linden.
They're coming from Linden. Yes. Yeah.
And then we have the Stranger and Tom Bombadil.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Nori, Poppy, and the Stoors.
Yes.
Which is a very exciting little...
That's my favorite. It's
They're always your favorite.
I that's true.
And then we have Arondir, Isildur, and Estrid, who are going to try and find Theo in the woods. So let's go ahead and get started with just Galadriel and Elrond and their little party. The story starts out with Elrond asking Galadriel to find like other members for their adventuring party, which felt very D&D for me. Like
very D&D.
We'll need 2 swordsmen and an archer. Can you provide that for me?
We don't have a cleric, but I think we're gonna be okay. Well, it's fine.
Well, it turns out they did have a cleric.
It turns out that there was a surprise cleric.
Galadriel was the cleric all along.
Look at that. You know what? She multi-classed. That's what happened.
She multi-classed into paladin.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
For this Galadriel, it makes sense.
Yeah, for this one.
What was that sound effect?
I don't know.
So they assemble their diverse cast of elves, which was a great diverse casting. What?
I'm laughing because that's literally what I thought. I was like, what a diverse bunch.
We have an Asian elf, a black elf, 2 nondescript white elves, one of which is a ginger. Like, what? Can you get more diverse than that?
I don't think so. I think this is the pinnacle.
The pinnacle of diversity. This is what Donald Trump is afraid of.
This is what the Republicans are warning everyone about.
Throughout the little adventure, Elrond is a little bitch towards Galadriel.
As per usual.
Constantly downing her and calling her selfish and being mad at the ring. They go into the Barrow Downs, which are home of the Barrow-wights. Barrow-wights, yes.
Barrow-wights, yeah.
Because they're not Barrow Blacks.
No, they're not.
Because that would be doing a racism.
That would be a racism.
The Barrow-wights who attack the elves. I don't know, like, and then they get into this, they discover a big trail of, like, forest that's been, like, trodden down, I guess, is how to, and they find an orc army, and there is a fight scene with Galadriel, and before that fight scene, Galadriel gives Nenya the Ring of Adamant to Elrond, and then Adar shows up at the very end of that sequence. So, what do we have going on here? Kat, what was your, in this storyline, what was your favorite part?
Okay. What was my favorite part? I liked the inclusion of the Barrow Downs, because we didn't get these in the movies, right? We got obviously it's in the books. There were quite a few things that we got in this episode that take place in, Fellowship of the Ring that are not in the movies at all, which is interesting. I'm not mad about it, but I like that we got the Barrow Downs, and that little bit of lore. I loved Galadriel's fight scene.
Yeah.
That was also good. I think that was well done. What else did I like about this storyline? So this is the thing, and I know we're going to have the same concern. A lot of my, what could have been enjoyment with this whole bit was very quickly taken away by how much of a bitch Elrond was being the entire time.
Truly.
Like, the entire time.
Elrond was just being a gigantic bitch the entire time.
Yeah. It's just from beginning to end. And just when I thought, like, towards the end, I was like, oh, maybe he's coming around. Maybe he's going to chill out a little bit. And then, nope, absolutely not.
Opposite of chill.
Opposite that.
Yeah. My favorite parts before we get into the Elrond of it all, I enjoyed that we got to see more of Nenya's powers. I thought that was very interesting. Like, she touches it a little bit and she sees the sacking of Eregion. Sorry, spoiler alert. She sees a city being destroyed.
Yes.
Spoilers, that city is Eregion. And I thought it was interesting that Nenya was given healing powers.
Yes, and so I actually I had to look it up. I was like, I don't remember Nenya specifically having healing powers, and so I had to look it up. It doesn't, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, who the fuck knows?
Who knows? They're these magical, mystical rings of power, literally. I am fine with it having healing powers. I think it made sense.
Yeah, I think it was a stretch, but it doesn't break anything in Tolkien for it to be a little bit extra healy. Like, good for that.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I also enjoyed singing. Blah, blah. We're gonna rewind. Please make a rewind effect. I enjoyed seeing the swan boats as the very first
yes.
shot in this scene, or in this episode, was the Teleri swan boats. They are very cool. They're reminiscent, or you'll see them later as Galadriel's swan boats in Fellowship of the Ring.
Yep.
Which are very cool. Yeah, no, overall this, I don't know. I had a few questions about this story. Like, Galadriel getting visions of the ring and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just curious as to how Nenya is supposed to be working. Because Nenya is the only ring that we're currently seeing being used as a ring of power, so I don't know how the other two are working at all. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if we get more, I guess, commentary from Gil-galad and from, oh my god, Círdan.
Mm-hmm.
If we get, like, more commentary on what they're experiencing a little bit later on. We've got a little bit from Gil-galad, but not a lot.
Yeah, we got a little bit, but not really a whole bunch of exposition about it, which I think is what we kind of need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of other things that I liked here. I did really like the Barrow Downs. I thought that was it was a little short for me. That scene was a little short. I felt like it could have gone on a little bit longer. But it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It was just very short.
Yeah. I like that so I forgot the Elvish name for the Barrow Downs. And so when they said we're going to, was it Tirm?
I'm not going to attempt to remember.
Yeah. I can't, but that's the thing. Like, I completely forgot those were the Barrow Downs. And so I was like, okay, it's just like, it's a place.
A more treacherous path. Yeah.
Right. And then when Galadriel was like, this is the Barrow Downs, I was like, oh my god, what? What? Once again, please, will someone listen to Galadriel?
Will someone please listen to this person who knows what the fuck she is talking about?
Right? Please, don't go there.
I did also really enjoy the fight scene, although I think the orcs were wearing, like, the most flammable clothing of all time.
Absolutely.
Because the second a spark touched them, flames.
Yeah. Unless, like, maybe these orcs are just extra flammable. I don't know. I don't know their lives, but, maybe.
But yeah, let's get a little bit into, because I don't have any more good stuff that I want to talk about.
No.
Yeah, I just have bad things to say about Elrond, really.
Yeah. Elrond has some fucking nerve.
I'm pretty sure Elrond is unredeemable for me at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just being a little bitch.
Yeah. Because this is the thing. If something, like, sort of quantifiable, like something tangible had happened to actually show that, hey, these rings are bad news, aside from them possibly, or Elrond thinking that they could possibly be tainted by Sauron, because Sauron was in the vicinity when the rings were created, which, that's fair. I understand how you could draw that conclusion, but...
Very fair, very valid.
Very valid. But up until this point, nothing bad has happened. In fact, the opposite, and you would think that after, Galadriel warns them and says, hey, we shouldn't go to the let's not go here. That is a bad place where bad, evil things are lying, and we should not go there for the Barrow Downs.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the Barrow Downs, and what happens? Bad shit happens.
Right.
And so you would think that after that, Elrond would say, maybe there's something to this ring, Maybe there's something to this, but he does the opposite of that and almost doubles down even harder.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me, and I wrote very early on in my notes that Elrond is unredeemable, because it was right after that conversation that they had at the Broken Bridge, where he just shuts down Galadriel like twice in a row in front of everybody.
Yeah. Unbelievably disrespectful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, this is the commander of the North. Like, this is, again, the misogyny. I'm calling it misogyny at this point.
It is.
Although, I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that she's a woman. I think it has everything to do with the fact that she is just aligned with Sauron in his mind. It's just such a bad call on his part.
And he keeps, and like I said, he keeps doubling down with it, is the thing. He's not.
Yeah, when I say misogyny, I don't mean misogyny from Elrond. I mean misogyny from the show.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's not like, yeah, that's good that we clarify that. When we're saying like, oh, it's misogyny, we're talking very specifically, and it may even be like, I hope and pray that it's like unconscious, like they're not aware of it.
I fully believe that it is.
You think it's intentional?
No, I think it's unconscious.
Yeah.
Because it's so like haphazard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just it's bothersome, but I think it's a thing that exists, and I think we need to acknowledge that.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's bananas to me that Elrond is speaking to her this way.
Oh yeah.
Because it's one thing for, and I see Gil-galad's point of view in this. As much as it frustrates me, I can see why Gil-galad would be like, okay, Galadriel, you can still go, but I'm gonna put Elrond in charge because you have had the closest association with Sauron as he is right now.
Right.
I can understand his reasoning. I may not agree with it.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with it.
Yeah, I don't like it's bullshit, but I can at least understand his point of view with that.
Right.
Elrond is taking it to another level here, though, because it's not just like it's not just like, oh, I'm doing this, like this is what Gil-galad has advised me to do. He is like just being malicious at this point.
Yeah, he really is. He's seen his, I don't know, maybe he's unconsciously seen like a grab for power that he can take, a chance to be taken seriously because he's half elven.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, and if so, like, okay, but you're doing this at like the expense of your friend. And
yes.
So I wrote very early on that Elrond is unredeemable, but he was truly unredeemable at the end of this episode.
Oh.
So Galadriel offers the ring to Elrond. Elrond refuses, and then Galadriel forces it on Elrond because she isn't certain if she's going to make it out, and she wants the ring to be protected. But she also tells them all to leave.
Yes.
One of the elves says she sacrificed herself to save us all. And I'm like, first of all, no, she's getting out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing. I was like, oh, girl, she is coming back.
Yeah, no, like this is just like what, 100 orcs?
Yeah,
Galadriel's fine.
She has no intention of dying here. Let's get that straight.
But she will refuse to be. She is open to the possibility of being captured, which is inevitably what happens. And because of that, she offers the ring to Elrond. Hmm? And after this elf says she sacrificed herself to save us all, Elrond says no. And then there's a big pause, and I'm like, okay, fine. Finally, Elrond's going to be like, no, she did it to save us.
Yes. I
thought that's what was going to happen, but no, he says she did it to save the ring. And here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. That is your, like, friend.
Yeah.
That is a very close friend that you've known for a while now.
Yep.
That you've known for hundreds, thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just saying, well, she's gonna, like, and all as far as you know, she's going to die. Mm-hmm. And all you can say is she did it to save the ring.
Yeah. How fucking dare you?
Unredeemable.
It's just, I was, it's especially frustrating and quite frankly kind of hurtful to me because I love Elrond of the books. I appreciate Elrond of the books. I appreciate Elrond in the movies. And whoever this is, I don't know him. I'm sorry. I don't know him. I don't claim him. It's I want nothing to do with him.
Yeah, can you imagine if this is what actually happened?
Right?
Like those White Council meetings.
Right?
Like in the Third Age, Galadriel would just be like staring daggers at Elrond the entire time.
This is what I'm saying. It's so bad because it's one thing. It would be one thing if like the way that he was behaving was coming from a place of concern for her. You know what I mean? Where like he's concerned for his friend that she is being manipulated. When you're concerned for someone, there isn't that air of maliciousness
right
that is coming from him because he seems to have thrown out all of their history and it's now like, no, she's doing it. She's doing it to save the ring. Like essentially saying, no, she doesn't give a fuck about us. She's not doing it for us. She's doing it for the ring. She doesn't care about us. Excuse me?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to need a lot from Elrond to make me not hate him, and I don't know if that's even possible at this point.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Galadriel is being so gracious to him.
Oh, so gracious.
So gracious to him. Because I think she at least she understands where, like, at least the baseline of the mistrust. You know? Like, she gets that. And so I'm assuming that's why she's willing to put up with this shitty behavior from Elrond. If it were me, absolutely not. I would have been like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not dealing with this anymore. Because is there even a friendship here?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this is showing her wisdom in some ways, but at the same time, it's also her putting up with a lot of shit that she shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Like, she should just slap him.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I had on the Galadriel Elrond of it all. Overall, I thought it was a good, like, aside from the fact of how Elrond is treating Galadriel, overall, it was a good part of the story.
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing the elves. I'm curious as to how it's going to go with Galadriel and Elrond, or Galadriel and Adar. That'll be interesting for the next episode. And yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, next episode, or maybe another episode after that. I don't know.
I was going to say, are we even going to see them in the next episode?
Who knows? Who knows? The next episode is called Halls of Stone, so I assume it's going to have something to do with Durin and Mithril.
Yeah, this is a dwarf and also, I think, a Numenor episode. I know it's a Numenor episode, just going by the preview, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch the preview this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Anyway.
We're 23 minutes into this recording, and we are...
Oh, boy.
So next we have The Stranger and Tom Bombadil. Not actually a whole bunch really happens here. However, what we do see is the stranger meets Tom Bombadil, and then he loses his piece of paper, and he gets swallowed by a tree. Tom Bombadil later saves him, and then they have a conversation about what the stranger's purpose is, really. And overall, I thought this was really, really well done. What do you think?
Very well done. Very well done. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. As soon as the stranger, I was about to say Gandalf. As soon as the stranger walked up to the tree and started trying to break it, I was like, oh, that's such a bad idea.
Yeah.
And sure enough.
I'm like, that's what you get.
Exactly.
I love that the captions labeled Tom Bombadil as goat farmer.
Excellent.
10 out of 10.
I feel like Tom Bombadil would also approve of that. He'd be like, yeah, that's fine. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, let's talk about Tom Bombadil, because I think it was an excellent adaptation of what we see in The Lord of the Rings.
I agree.
He was always singing.
Yep.
We'll get to Goldberry in a second.
Yes, because I want to talk about that, because I'm...
I'm confused about the Goldberry of it all. It's very confused. Let's just talk about Goldberry now. Anyway, Goldberry is Tom Bombadil's wife. I think they're married.
Yes.
And he knows her by now. He knows her at this point in the story.
He should. I don't think he does, though, in the adaptation that we are watching. I don't think he does.
Okay, well, that's wrong.
It is.
It doesn't affect anything, but it's wrong.
But it's incorrect. And because the way that he reacted, and it could be that he was being intentionally oblivious. I don't think he was, though. I think it seemed like he was genuinely surprised when the stranger was like, oh, what was that other voice? And he was like,
right.
What other voice?
There was clearly another person there, another voice there.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to like what Gandalf the stranger was hearing.
Yeah. The caption said Goldberry, so I'm assuming
the caption said Goldberry.
Yeah.
So there was a voice.
Yes, there was a voice, like a distinctly like quote unquote feminine voice.
Yes.
So yes, there was another voice there. Maybe we'll find out. Is Tom Bombadil supposed to be in more episodes, right?
I have no idea, actually.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, hopefully we find out. It's completely possible. I could see it going both ways. I could see it as Tom Bombadil just not being like, no, we're not going to talk about this yet. That this is Goldberry. We don't talk about this, but
yeah, we couldn't afford Goldberry this season.
Yes, exactly. You couldn't. couldn't afford her in the budget. She was a little too pricey. Yeah, I don't know. It could go either way. I don't think it breaks the story either way, honestly. It's just curious.
No, it just felt needlessly confusing, but also Tom Bombadil is a needlessly confusing entity.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So why not?
It makes sense.
It makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it tracks.
I did love all of the allusions to how old Tom Bombadil is. Like, he called the stars newcomers.
Yes. Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. And he said Tom remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn, which was very beautiful.
Yeah. Overall, I think Rings of Power did a really good job just adapting Tom Bombadil, which is a very hard character to adapt and does not make sense story-wise and doesn't serve a purpose story-wise.
No. He's there for vibes.
He is very much a vibes character.
Yeah.
I think Rings of Power is getting him to serve a purpose, which he did not serve in Lord of the Rings, so it makes a little bit more sense to have him, here. Yeah. And I approve of them doing what they're doing by making him Gandalf's the Stranger's teacher or whatever. This was the moment when I had to pause, though.
Is it with he's not the first Istar?
You're not the first Istar who's eaten honey by my fire.
Yeah.
Years ago, there was another, the Dark Wizard. And I'm just like...
Yeah. Okay.
If you've been listening to these episodes, I have a very, Istar has a very specific meaning, and I know y'all are just probably tired of me saying that, and I'm going to keep it very brief. But Istar specifically refers to one of the 5 wizards. Istari, that's who they are. So the fact that, unless this Dark Wizard is one of the blue wizards or something, then I'm very...
But then, Dark Wizard? I don't get it.
Yeah, the blue... We don't know what happened to the blue wizards.
This is true.
Tolkien barely knew what happened to the blue wizards.
That's the thing. So that it could be that this is what they're doing, which I'm interested to see it. But yeah, that was the moment where I was like, what?
just questions. And I'm not going to harp on it because, again, I just had to take a few minutes to process.
Yes. Yeah. And also, the stranger / Gandalf seems to be aware of Sauron.
That was literally what I was going to say.
Oh, was it? There you go.
I was gonna say, because the stranger knows who Sauron is. He just says that word, that name.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows that is his purpose, because that is why the Istari were sent to Middle Earth.
Yes. Exactly.
So that was good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also Tom Bombadil just straight up said your task, your mission, whatever, is to defeat both Sauron and the Dark Wizard.
Right.
And also that the Dark Wizard was trying to join forces with Sauron.
Right.
Which I was like, question mark? Okay.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to what this Dark Wizard out of Rune is going to be doing with Sauron in this season.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're doing something in this season, but I don't know how they're going to fit that into 4 more episodes.
Well, this is what I'm saying. We are already halfway through the season. It doesn't feel like it is crazy to me. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about Numenor for a second, because it is insane to me that we have only seen Numenor once, and we are halfway through the season.
Well, we don't know if what's going to happen to Numenor is going to happen to Numenor.
I don't know how I don't think it can. How could there possibly be time?
But I don't know how we're going to get to what happens to Eregion this season either. I don't know how we're going to get there. So spoilers for people that don't want Rings of Power spoilers, because we're beating around the bush a little bit. But
we are.
That vision that Muriel had in season 1 of waves destroying Numenor, that happens.
Yes.
The vision Galadriel had in this episode of Eregion being destroyed by Sauron, that happens.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just curious as to how, and we still need resolution on who the Dark Wizard is, what's going to happen with the Dark Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's lots of question marks. I don't know. The time that we have left makes me very nervous.
Yes, things need to start happening very quickly. Even though a lot happens in these episodes,
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to need to move very quickly, which might be detrimental to the story, but might be okay. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll find out.
I'm willing to wait and find out. Yeah, I'm willing to wait and find out.
I will say there was one line of Tom Bombadil's that was like very much at the heart of Tolkien for me, which was all things belong each to themselves, just as you belong to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And Tolkien's world is all about like free choice or free will and the power of choice. And that's why Tom Bombadil doesn't interfere because, like, you know, the gods don't really interfere.
Mm-hmm.
Although they have this season with Ulmo being like...
I was going to say, well, Ulmo just really gave... it was just a little nudge. It was just a little poke.
It was a little nudge.
Just a little poke.
The gods do interfere occasionally.
Yes.
And when they do, they interfere on big scales.
Yeah.
Like they defeated Morgoth.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Very big scale.
Very big scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I was really happy with this storyline. I think Tom Bombadil was really adapted well.
Yeah. I think, and I take back my thoughts from before, because I remember seeing a picture of Tom Bombadil and being like, oh, I don't think this is going to be good. I'm not into this. And then he started singing, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good, actually.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil is always singing.
Yeah.
That's just his thing.
Just little snippets of songs, like just, yeah. Always. Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so. I'm curious to see, like, how the story develops with the Stranger and the Dark Wizard and Sauron and stuff. Like, we know how, assuming this is Gandalf, we know how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious about this Dark Wizard. Is he going to be the Witch King of Angmar? Is he going to be one of the Ring Wraiths? Is he a blue wizard?
Question mark. I mean, Tom Bombadil said that he was an Istar.
Right, and if anybody is going to know, it's going to be Tom Bombadil.
It's going to be Tom Bombadil, so I am going by, at least within the show's lore, this person is an Istar.
Right.
Which, again, confusing. I'm not, like, against it necessarily. It's just I'm curious how this is going to be explained, like what the backstory for this is.
Yeah.
I will say, there was one more thing. There was just one line that I was very happy to see included. When Tom Bombadil comes and saves the Stranger / Gandalf from the tree, from Old Iron. What is it? What's the tree's name?
Old Ironfoot? Old Ironwood?
It might be Ironwood. Ironwood would make sense.
Right.
Either way, it's Iron something, where he says, you should not be waking, eat dirt, drink water, dig deep. And I was just like, that's word for word from Fellowship, I believe.
Yeah.
And so that made me happy. I was like, okay, this is nice.
Yeah, no, it was really good.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I will give Rings of Power this one.
Yes. We'll give them this one thing.
Just one thing. You can have this one thing.
Exactly.
Well, they also have another thing. They have all of the halflings.
Yes. Well, actually 3 things, because the Ent and the Ent wives as well. So
yes,
they have some things.
So next we have Nori and Poppy and the Stoors, including, what was his name? The new store?
Oh, I was gonna say Meriadoc, but it's not. But it's close. It's Meriadoc?
Meridon or something? Meriadoc?
Merrymock? Let's look this up.
Let's look it up, because that's how we are here.
Please hold. I should have put the name down. Did I put the name down?
I thought I did.
I thought I did too. Well, damn. Guess I didn't put the name down.
Merrymac.
Okay.
Okay. That's good.
Yes, there we go.
Wait. Who is she?
Oh.
That's who that is.
You're talking about Gunny?
No, I was looking at the voice of Winterbloom.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Sorry. Getting distracted looking at Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
So Nori and Poppy wake up in the middle of nowhere, separated from the Stranger. They meet Merrymac. I had to look it up again. They meet Merrymac, and they find that there are a bunch of other halflings living in the desert, and they're the Stoors.
Yeah.
And there's a leader of the Stoors that ties them up and says they're going to be put out or something in the morning. But before that, Nori mentions Sadek and the leader of the Stoors, who is a person named
Gunny. They call her, like, she's not supposed to be called Gunny. I can't remember her full name though.
Yeah.
Once again, I should have made a note of this.
Gundabale Earthhauler.
Great name.
Gundabale Earthhauler.
Gundabale Earthhauler.
I want that to be my name.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't that be my name?
That's a good name.
Gundabale Earthhauler.
Gundabale Earthhauler. Love it.
Yes, we see that Gundabale, the Gundy, I think they call her.
I think it's the Gundy. I thought it was Gunny. It's Gundy.
Gundy, yes. Tells Nori about the origins of Sadek. And we find out that Sadek is a Stoor.
Yeah.
And he was sought out to find the Shire.
Yeah. Which is that is the name that she says. So when she's...
Yes, the Suzat.
The Suzat. When she says the Suzat, it is the Shire that she's at. Which is just a little bit... There were some... I love this. I love how much of Hobbit's stuff we're getting in this show. It is, like as you correctly pointed out, it is my favorite part of Rings of Power consistently. I just think they're doing a really good job with it. So far we've gotten, obviously, the Harfoots. We've gotten Stoors. I'm interested to see if we're going to see anything with Fallowhides, because those are the three sort of origin groups of hobbits.
Yeah, I almost want to say they're the three breeds of hobbits.
Yeah, I was
even though that's a weird way to put it.
But I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's I was very tickled to see this. And then when we found out that Sadek is actually a Stoor, I was like, oh, of course he is. Like, now that we see the Stoors, I was like, yep, this makes complete sense. I can see this.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was a very good little tidbit to throw in there. I really enjoyed seeing the origin of Sadek. I really enjoyed seeing that Sadek was once like a wild little halfling that wanted to search for the Shire and find a place of rolling hills. That's really cute.
It was very sweet. It was really, really cute. And finding out sort of the lore behind the walking song too, and how it all kind of connects back to this. And then also the hopeful look that Gundabale gets on her face when she says, she's wondering if they're going to lead her back to the Shire, to the Suzat. I was like, oh my god, you guys are so close. Just a little bit longer and you're gonna get there. Don't worry, you're gonna get there. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very sweet.
Just give it another 500 years, you'll be fine.
Just a cool 500. It's fine.
Yeah, I loved the character of old Gundabale. She was so no nonsense. She had no time for any of them.
Absolutely not.
I love the little insult that was like, boy, if we put your brains in a vulture, it'd fly backwards.
Which, great. Oh my god. Yeah, she was fantastic. I hope we get more of her. I hope we get to see more of her. It's delightful. I don't know. What's his name? Merrimack. I think is the young man that is very obviously a love interest for Poppy.
Yes,
I believe.
Oh yeah, very straight off the bat, a love interest for Poppy.
They got almost instant heart eyes.
Yes. Okay. Not much happened, but it was very, very cute and very, very wholesome.
Yeah. I am. The people with the masks, they said when they showed up at the end, and obviously, Gundabale obviously does not give them up. But when they say there's a reason why we wear our masks, I think is what they said, something along those lines.
Yeah, there's a reason that we wear these masks, and you'll find out if the Dark Wizard has to come here.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I assume they're like disfigured or something or scarred underneath it.
I assume so, something like that. But I'm interested if they're so. Anytime we meet someone new, I'm always like, is this going to be somebody? Is this something important with the capital I? To like Tolkien lore or anything like that, or is it just like, a show thing? And so that's what I'm wondering right now.
Right.
I'm fine either way, but I'm just curious now because they made such a point of saying it. So, yeah. No, it was very good though. I thoroughly enjoyed this part. Very good.
Every episode from The Rings of Power has its own soundtrack, which is insane to me.
Interesting. That's crazy. That's wild. So they don't have, I guess they don't. So they don't have continuous themes throughout.
They do, but I don't think it's like, Yeah, because I was just looking at it and I'm like, why are these so
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it Bear McCready that does the
Yeah, Bear McCreary.
McCreary, that's it. Okay. Interesting. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I was just again looking on Wikipedia, looking at the episode, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. Once again, the show is beautiful. I was reminded of that. I mean, every episode I'm reminded of this, but visually stunning. It looks so good. And I love the use of maps.
Yes.
Map of Middle Earth and how it fades into the scene. 10 out of 10. Beautiful.
Yes. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes right here. They don't make any sense, so I'm dividing them up a little bit.
I was like, why is the dock moving? What is happening?
Yes.
Because you're making changes.
Yes, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Do we have anything else for
I don't think so.
the halflings? I love the little, like, we only got, I don't know, it was maybe like 8 or 10 minutes of halflings in this, and we got like a lot of good lore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt so I feel like each of the storylines was divided up fairly well. Like
Yeah.
it feels, like it felt like there was a lot happening, but it didn't feel like there was one storyline that was sort of overarching over the other ones, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like some had a little bit more importance than others, like Galadriel and Elrond and Arondir.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Isildur and Estrid. Those two felt a little bit more impactful, I guess is a good word. Yeah.
I think too, because those two storylines connect more heavily to the overall plot as well, because it's, they're both of the storylines interacted with orcs in some way, in one way or another, and
Right.
and obviously with Sauron, and so it's I think that's why they're more connected to the overall plot, whereas the other two, not to say that they're not important, but they just weigh differently, I think.
Yeah. They're more lore building.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we have Arondir, Isildur, and Estrid, and I don't have many notes here, so I'm having a hard time remembering what happened, even though I watched it less than an hour ago. So we have, what is it? Arondir, Isildur, and Estrid together, and Isildur and Estrid are making eyes at each other because they're in love so clearly, and they're going to make beautiful babies. But then Arondir is like, hey, what is this mark on your back? Why do you have this? And then reveals that she is one of the wild men. They chain her up, and then they all go out and try and find Theo.
They get into some mud. They fall into mud.
And they find one of the nameless things. A rather small nameless thing.
Yes.
But still a nameless thing nonetheless.
Yes.
The nameless things are, I almost want to say Ungoliant isn't confirmed as a nameless thing. But she's close to a nameless thing.
I think she's as close to a nameless thing as you're going to get without calling it a nameless thing blatantly.
But the Watcher in the Water from Fellowship of the Ring, that's a nameless thing.
That's a nameless thing,
yeah. Then they eat it.
Which work. That's fine.
I was just like, oh, okay.
Just eating nameless things now, huh?
Yeah, my note literally says you're going to eat a nameless thing.
I mean, why not?
I guess, but like, what kind of What kind of macronutrients are in a nameless thing?
I mean, it's either really good or really bad. I think it's one of those two.
You're going to get some kind of disease.
Yeah, or you're going to get like some kind of crazy power. It's one of those two.
It's either going to be like one of those like big size mushrooms or one of those mini size mushrooms.
Exactly.
Anyway, and then what happened? They make camp for the night, and then the Ents show up.
Mm-hmm.
2 Ents named Winterbloom and Snaggleroot.
Yeah, what good names. What good Ent names.
And we discovered that the Ents were keeping Theo and some of the wild men prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as they should.
Yeah, my entire time we were on this part of the episode, I was just like, show me the Ents.
Mm-hmm. Gimme the Ents. I want them.
I want the Ents.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? It was very worth it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, I do also really like the Estrid and Isildur pairing. I think that's going to be... Because Isildur...
Interesting.
I like it.
Yeah? Okay.
Do you not like it?
I don't care enough about it. I don't care enough about her, I think is the thing.
Oh, I just think they're going to make beautiful babies.
That's fair. They probably will. I mean, yeah. But she's engaged, right? I guess that doesn't matter. She's not
That
married.
was funny at the end of this when he just like shows up and it's like, Estrid, and she's like, oh, Hagen.
She's like, hey.
Hagen, hey, I thought you were dead.
Hey, baby. What's up? You just have Isildur sadly walking away.
Yeah, no, the highlight of this for me was the Ents.
Oh, for sure. Easily.
Easily. I was surprised that the Ents would keep prisoners, though.
Well, I'm not. I feel like the Ents, if they're angry enough, they do shit like that.
Well, Winterbloom was rageful.
Yes. She was quite angry. Quite furious. And so I feel like it was kind of, well, I guess they, No, I'm just trying to think if they would, because I think they were trying to, like, they weren't sure if they could release them, and they didn't want to kill them outright, it seemed like.
Right, they didn't want to have useless killing, but they didn't want to just let them go.
Yeah.
So that's fine, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that was their thinking, which, that's fine.
But yeah, I loved Winterbloom. I loved Winterbloom and Arondir's interaction. That was beautiful.
That was so sweet. Oh my god. I am really liking Arondir this season. And that's not to say that I disliked him last season. I feel like more of a character this season. Like, we're getting to know more about him. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. It was really good to see Arondir putting some of his woodland knowledge to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I took a note of this moment when Winterbloom is still raging, and she says, disemboweling and uprooting branch breakers and tree splitters all. And I was like, ooh, I love it when Ents get so angry and they just start like spitting bars essentially. They just they just go off. And she was very angry, understandably angry.
Yeah, she was really, really good. She was a really good character, and she was voiced by Olivia Williams,
Mm-hmm.
who is I don't know what she's most famous for. She was most recently playing Camellia Parker Bowles in The Crown in its final 2 seasons.
Oh, that's where I know the voice from. Okay, that's where I know the voice from. So it's like, I've heard her voice, like, I know she's been in stuff before. But yeah, she was fantastic. She was great. It was, I wasn't expecting, because I don't think it was announced that we were going to see Entwives. We were going to see Ents, but...
Yeah, we knew there were going to be Ents, but we didn't know there were going to be Entwives, so it sounds like the Entwives were in the... Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been lost yet, which is a nice little... tidbit. I like that a lot.
Jim Broadbent voiced Snaggleroot, who is
he played one of the Dumbledores, I think, in the movie.
No, he played
Did he not?
Not Dumbledore. Slughorn.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were lots of good little one-off characters in this episode.
Yeah. The Entwives, the Ents and the Entwives were, I think, my favorite bits of the entire episode. That moment with it was such a beautiful moment. I think that might be my favorite moment of the show so far, actually. With Arondir and Winterbloom.
Yeah, that was a very good scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to love Isildur a lot.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Interesting.
It's interesting. It's, well, maybe not unfortunate. He's just a complicated character to get attached to. So,
yes. Yeah, I mean, we all know what happens to him. He dies.
Yes. Well, and it's not just that he dies. It's that he has quite a significant fuck up.
He
did a whoopsie. Isildur did a whoopsie. Yeah, let's leave it at that. If you've seen Lord of the Rings, then you know what he did.
You know what he did. He did a whoopsie.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Everyone does whoopsies from now and again.
Yeah. And sometimes they have the entire fate of the world in their hands.
Listen, sometimes it be like that. What are you gonna do?
Sometimes it be like that. But yeah, I think that's all we have for this episode. Do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else. Oh, do I have anything else? Oh, I liked. Sorry, another little quote when this is way back with the Barrow-wights when they say they're whispering and they say "cold be heart and hand and bone," which is it's a thing that the Barrow-wights also say in the books. And so that was a nice little callback. There was a lot of. I feel like there were a good amount of Tolkien lore dropped in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it was nice to see all of the little lore drops and to see them woven in a way that didn't feel forced.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's always my thing. I'm like, if you're going to throw something in from another book or something or another series, it's going to feel away most of the time, and they didn't feel away.
Yeah. I appreciated it. I think it was very well done. I think this is my, so far of this season, episode 2 is my favorite. This one is, I think, a fairly close second.
Yeah. Dropped something and made a noise that Camille's going to have to take care of in post-production.
Oopsies. See,
we all do an oopsie.
Sometimes you do a oopsie or a whoopsie. It's fine.
Oopsie or whoopsie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is episode 107 of this podcast, which is insane to me.
That's crazy. That's bananas.
That's wild.
That's bananas. By the time we're done with this, we're going to get up to, what?
110.
107. So 110. My God.
111.
Good Lord.
8, 9, 10, 11, yeah.
Yeah. My goodness. Wow.
And we've already recorded episode 112.
Yeah. Have we?
Yeah, it was the Gathering Storm one.
That's right. I get, sometimes it's confusing because we record episodes and then it takes a little bit for them to come out. And so sometimes I forget the order of things. I forgot that we held that one. That one is, yeah, because we're doing Rings of Power.
Yes. All right. Well, that is all we have for you guys today, folks.
Folks.
What? Folks. Folksies.
Very Midwestern of you. It sounded very.
Oh yeah, I'm channeling Matt.
I was gonna say it's like Matt is here with us right now.
Oh, they also recorded episode 113, which is the one about Dorian Gray.
That's right. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
We're doing so well in life, y'all.
We're doing great. We're killing it.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Queers of Time or Queers of Power, whatever you want to call this little tangent that we do. If you want to find more of us, you can find us on Discord. That's the best way to follow us. We also have a Patreon if you would like to support us there. We really appreciate any kind of support that you can get. And also you get stickers if you support us. I have actually sent out stickers as of yesterday to all the people that were missing it. So yesterday being 9/10, September 10th.
Yes.
So.
Excellent.
Yeah. I was going to say 10/9.
10/9.
Because sometimes people...
Oh, put the month before the... Wait.
The people outside of the U.S.
The day before the month. Yeah, very confusing.
How do you do it in Canada?
I would say 9/10.
Okay.
Yeah. I would put the month before the date. Anytime I see the day before the month, it fucks me up. it gets me very confused. Especially if it's lower than 12, because then I'm like, I don't know what's right. So. Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.